Welcome to the Bible Forum. Sunday, August 18th. I'm Warren Sprouse. I want to talk to you a little bit about white people's bias against people of color. A Massachusetts school superintendent told a community audience recently that white people in our, quote, systematically corrupt system that oppresses black individuals, end of quote, need to, quote, rewire their brains, end of quote, in order to overcome their biases. He was presenting two courses to be taught at two district high schools, Pittsfield and Taconic, focusing not only on black oppression, but the contributions black people have made to society. The course is to be taught by Jamal Ahmad. Now the question comes to mind, what does an Arabic man know about life in America? But then you stop and you say, oh, well, wait a minute, he's probably John Washington wanting to project his heritage or his parents doing, or his religion or whatever, and he adopts this new moniker. Whatever the case may be, he appears to be living aside from American culture, or wants to. And you might think that I'm being judgmental. The critics would say, you can't say that about, you don't know him. That's true, I don't. And I'm just guessing. But we've all seen this before, over and over again. Experts seeking to make things better by introducing us to another culture. Does it occur to any of them that America only has one culture? If you're an American, you live in America, you're an American. We used to have subcultures. We had Chinatown and Little Italy and other enclaves. When you went home, you could get into that world again, because grandma didn't speak English anyway. But out in the workaday world, the political world, the economic world, we're Americans, and you got to get in the game. It is a proven fact that the more people from other countries become Americanized, the greater they prosper. When they fail to do that, they fail to prosper. Anybody paying attention? McCandless added that Pittsfield is working to better a system which has, quote, long been overlooked. The work, the contributions, overlooking the work and contributions of people of color. I would be in the audience saying, have we really? There's a pantheon of black men and black women who are a meaningful part of our heritage. Today, there are millions of dark-skinned people of all sorts making valuable and notable contributions every day. They're all speaking the best English they can speak and trying to live the way the culture lives and respond the way the culture does. Very few of them are recoiled back into a little cave somewhere where they only their kind are and want to talk in their lingo and have you accept it. Just look around. You don't really see them. They're blended in. But they emerge every once in a while, as they should. What we do see are the black entertainers and politicians. People whose sole purpose seems to impact, effect, and cultivate an audience. They change their names to reflect their supposed heritage. They dress, they speak, and act in such a way as to shock people. Because of their talent, because of their public office, they impact society. And as they do, they preach rebellion and anarchy in the name of justice. Does anybody see the irony in all of this? Along with the history courses, a teacher professional development seminar featured a college professor who enlightens educators about their implicit biases. The point? The suffering of dark-skinned people in the United States is the result of, wait for it, white prejudice. They suffered because white people had a prejudice against them, wouldn't let them succeed. Had nothing to do with their initiative, had nothing to do with their ability, had nothing to do with their needs or any of that. It was all about white people. That people who were not white failed at things they weren't good at, that these folks perhaps had their own prejudices, that they had been conditioned to expect certain behavior, they looked for it, found it, that they were working from a basic self-ish orientation. None of that matters. This man just knows that people would do better if white people would get out of the way. How does he know that? Well, he just simply believes it's true. What else could it be? Because in everyday America, all Americans are treated the same way, unless there's something wrong with them. I'm 76 years old. I have worked in the workaday world since I was 18. My first experience, I worked with men, and young boys as well, but men on a chemical plant in the rough and tumble. Most of the men I ran and had contact with were black. Everybody was treated the same. 1961. Everybody was treated the same. Nobody told racially charged jokes or mocked anybody or did anything. We all got paid the same amount of money. We did the same job. Everybody was treated equally. Now the black guys, they could call each other nigger. You couldn't. And you didn't want to. You didn't grow up with that. It's not that way, or was not. Now we have to have laws. What changed? The law now requires that you live the way we did, normally, naturally. Common decency expects it. Christian grace motivates it. Cut anybody you want of any color you want. They bleed the same color. They're all human beings. They're all the same. They have different cultures. They have different values. They do a lot of different stuff, but they're the same. They're humans. Where there are exceptions, it's due to the way people relate to one another. Arrogant people of any color are generally shunned or treated differently. People who project distrust or anger are not drawn into the larger culture. People who insist on being distrustful and or dominant are not easily included in that broader culture. People who deliberately act out in rude and or disgusting ways, people who speak in deliberately unintelligible ways, people who dress and act out in disgusting ways are not generally brought into the larger culture. And it appears that these people like it that way. They want to be different in that coarse sort of way. It's why they do what they do. So if I tend not to want to be around that kind of person, how did I get to be the problem? In an interview with the Louisville Courier-Journal, a liberal civil rights attorney by the name of Dawn Elliott accused Kentucky Attorney General candidate Daniel Cameron of eating the coon flakes that the White House was serving. Did I mention Cameron was a Republican? How can a black man be a Republican and not be a traitor to his race. That's the underlying thesis for Don Elliott. Elliott's an attorney who co-hosts a political talk show on the radio, who asked Cameron in a Courier Journal interview, why would anyone of color want to side with someone who's trying to destroy us? She went on, Daniel is slapping all black ancestors in the face. All their hard work, struggles, and even death mean nothing to him. Cameron came back on Twitter and said he's proud of his party affiliation. The incident demanded a response from some Democrat Party leaders, and yet all we're hearing is crickets, said Senator Scott from Kentucky. This is the rough and tumble in these racially charged times, and unnecessary racially charged time. We don't need to be doing this. And I would warn you that people who care, people who are living the American dream, as it were, don't like any of this. They would not deliberately treat people of color this way. Some do. There's jerks. So why would an entire group of people get together and try to dress different, act different, have outrageous hairdos and vocabulary, and come at you at every chance, and then say, it's because of you that we're not integrated into the larger society? Does that make sense to anybody? It does to them. And therein lies the rub.